Jim, walk number 37 on Saturday night. I guess Cowboy will probably tie you again later this year when he fights. But, I mean, does it mean something to you every time when you keep pushing that record out there?
It does. My goal is to get to 40. That's my first goal. And I know that if I get to fight as often as I want to, I probably would already be at 40. This will be like 6 months in between fights, and that's too long for me. I prefer closer to 3. Like I said, my goal is 40, and we'll see where I'm at when I get there. Each one of these is one step closer to 300. It'd be really awesome to fight on 100, 200, and 300. I at this moment, none of the stats or any of the record stuff, like it doesn't really drive me that much. Getting the opportunity to fight the best inside the octagon is really what motivates me and keeps me coming back.
Have you done the math on the UFC 300 thing? What would you be about, 40, 41, something like that?
It all depends on how long, how far away it is. I think it would, if I was fighting at the pace that I wanted, it'd probably be 45 or more.
No, I mean your age though.
I probably another 4 years. Yeah, I think so. So 41, 42.
You touched on, you said the records. I mean, we talked to Frankie Edgar last week, right? He has the most octagon time of all time. And I asked him, and he's like, I don't know if Ironman records really the records I want to be known for. But what do you think? I mean, it is pretty damn special to have as many fights as you have, right? I mean, do you take pride in it, or do you also say, I wish I was known for something more than just the Ironman?
It's something that I mean, there are nearly 8 billion people on this planet, and it's like there aren't going to be many that get 40 fights in the UFC. There aren't many that have 20 wins in the UFC. There aren't many that have got to 30 fights in the UFC. So it puts me in an elite group, like the whole group of guys that are over 30 fights. I mean, it's cool. Like you said, it's not like the greatest thing ever, right? You'd rather be the Khabib that comes in, goes undefeated, and hangs them up. But there's also that side of me that's like, man, like he only fought like a dozen times in the UFC. That's not a lot. I enjoy fighting. I enjoy the opportunity every time that I get to fight, right? Like, it's an opportunity that there are thousands upon thousands of, fighters that never get that opportunity, never earn that opportunity, and I was able to earn it and make the most of it. So it's cool, like I said, but it's not something that, like, while it's going on, I'm like, yeah, this is the greatest thing ever, and really motivating me.
I know you said you would have liked a quicker turnaround. What did you take out of your last fight? I mean, obviously a hard-fought one, didn't go your way, but I mean a solid fight to say the least. What did you take out of that one?
I keep telling myself, like, when I have one of these fights, I just did a podcast yesterday with Joe Lozon and Eze Edwards, and we watched our first fight, and I was like, at the end of that fight, that's the most tired I've ever been. And then I had the Healy fight. And and then I had like that last fight. That it was a shorter notice one. I was doing 10, 11 5-minute rounds. In the 2 weeks that I had leading up to it, I was in shape. Not great full fight camp shape, but a full fight camp for me is like 4 weeks at this point. So I expected to be a little fatigued, but I went out. I had a good first round. I won the first round, and I was done. I remember walking back, and it was just like, oh shit. Like I know what this feeling is like, and I don't really know why. Vince kept the pressure on, and he stole it from me. Winning those last 2 rounds. So, yeah, like I was so fatigued that I ended up starting to vomit and couldn't stop myself, and then I started throwing up blood, and that continued, 10 minutes into the ambulance drive to the hospital. So it was kind of like one of those things, like, oh, shit, what's wrong? We ran some tests, we didn't find anything that really stuck out. So it was like, okay, well, now we're gonna, I'm a 37-year-old professional fighter. Let's take a step back and let's start being a little bit more scientific about this. Like I was just telling the DC and Anik and everybody on that call, it was like, I used to be able to, everything that I did was conditioning. It didn't matter what I was doing. If I was getting the groceries from the truck, I was doing lunges to the house, like everything was go, go, go. And, at 37, it's not like that anymore. Like it really isn't. And I have to take the extra steps of doing, that, working on that base level cardio now that I didn't have to earlier in my career because, like I said, everything was 100%. Now it's like if I need to do a round or two less, I can do that. I can say, okay, today's not the day to empty the tank. So, I've been working on, building the cardio base up for the last 4 or 5 months, and I feel like I'm in fantastic shape and been tracking heart rate and sleep and all that stuff. And you can see the data that I'm in great shape and continuing to get better. So, I'm just trying to be more mature about it and, like, deal with being an aging athlete. So it sucks, but that's the way it goes if you're going to stick around this long.
Yeah. So how long exactly did you know about this fight? Because it was a really late announcement, but I know sometimes things happen behind the scenes that we don't hear about. So, I mean, with all the things that you said about taking a late notice fight, is this a late notice fight or had you had more knowledge than we did?
I think I had just under 4 weeks. So I think everybody considers that, late notice, short notice. Like I enjoy 6 weeks. Like if I get a fight on 6 weeks notice, it's like, okay, I can go hard, for 5 weeks and come into fight camp in shape, ready to go. I'd like 8 weeks, but it's just the way that it works these days is that I never get that opportunity. So, I was asking back in September to get lined up for a fight just so that I had some notice. And things never came together, and so then it was kind of like I started hitting, December, and I was like, I better start training like there's a fight in 3 weeks because there could be one, and it's kind of like what happened.
Very nice. The last thing for me, I mean, at this point in your career, you've obviously seen it all, done it all, but Bobby's a really interesting matchup, right? The way he fights. So, I mean, what do you think about what he does in the cage and what kind of matchup this is going to provide for you?
He's got a very interesting style, and I prepared to fight him in 2014, and it's a different look. So I didn't get the opportunity really to do much game planning for that this time around, but when it comes to fighting and when I'm at my best, it's being me. So, it really doesn't matter what the other person brings to the table. It's about being me and fighting my fight. Like I said, I trained to fight him. I've seen him fight a dozen times. I've been a fan of his. I'm intrigued by his fights. I want to see how it goes. I want to see how people fight him and what he does. So, I'm excited because it's another guy that's been around for a long time. And that gets me excited. It adds an extra little dynamic to the fight, So, I'm pumped for Saturday to come.
Hey Jim, you were saying that you want this many weeks or this many weeks, stuff like that. Is there lessons you've just learned over time in the sport that you wish you knew in training camps at the beginning of your career?
I mean, yeah, there's definitely a lot of things that I've learned. I mean, some of the biggest lessons have been not overdoing it. You know, I've been fortunate enough to, you know, I've been lucky and stupid, tough, whatever you want to call it, enough to not pull out of a fight. But I've definitely been injured, you know, going into fights, and I definitely deal with injuries that I've sustained by doing too many hard sessions, you know, every week. So like that's kind of one of those things. That's like that's why when I've got, you know, I think I had like 12 or 13 weeks leading up to my fight with Diaz, and it was difficult because it's like, okay, start slow, right? Like work on the basics, get the reps in, and don't come in, you know, first day 3 months out and go berserk like, you know, it's fight night. So yeah, I mean, like the biggest lesson I think is just being able to train hard but mitigate the risk and not, you know, like sparring is fun. It really is. It's pretty much everybody loves to do it, but you gotta weigh the benefit and the risk and yeah. So like that's why for me it's like a couple weeks is okay. Well, I'm in shape. I'm ready to turn it up, and I only need a few weeks to really kind of push myself to get to that point where it's like fight ready.
Is it kind of a weird paradox where you learn that lesson, and lots of fighters learn that lesson, but the fact is that young men are always going to be too aggressive earlier on in their careers anyway?
Yeah, it is, because I mean, you try to tell it to everybody, hey, you know, you don't need to be sparring like this, you know, more than once a week, and like, and if you're out of fight camps, like maybe once every 2 weeks, like because it's you only get one brain, and you know, shit happens, right? So you definitely like I've been injured in fights. I've had things happen in fights that, you know, I needed to get therapy and stuff like that, physical therapy afterwards. But like I said, a majority of the injuries that I've sustained in the last 15 years have been from training. So yeah, it's a conversation that you almost have weekly with guys. Like, why are you, like, I just saw you on social media sparring yesterday. What are you doing here today? Because that's what we're doing. Like, you don't need to do that.
Do you look at those stories that we hear about CTE and brain trauma going forward for guys later in their lives? Do you look at that and think, man, people in this sport need to become educated about that very quickly, or else we're going to see a lot of those stories as this sport gets older?
You know, I think we do. I definitely think we do. You know, and the worst part is that it's hard. It's almost like, well, why do we train the way we train? Well, it's because it's the way we always trained, you know, and it's kind of that habit, you know, and tradition of it, where it's like I look at guys like GSP and Mighty Mouse, and it's like, you know, like I've heard, I haven't gotten to train with those guys, but I've heard how their camps work, and it's like these guys are working reps so that fight night their body only knows one thing. It's not, they're not going in and you know, biting down on their mouthpiece and getting into fights, you know, on some Wednesday afternoon. They're preparing to win a fight in one area of MMA, right? And it's difficult even for me, like kind of being in control to a degree of like what's going on, you know, like me having my own gym, it saved my career. If I was sick, you know, back in 2015, 2016, 2017, and I was at somebody else's gym, I probably would have sustained injuries that I would have ended my career. But since I was the one in control, I was able to, you know, mitigate the risk. But yeah, it's like it's hard. We need to learn how to prepare for fights in the safest way possible, because that's really the thing, and that's why I enjoy the opportunities to fight, because this is only 37, right? Like, it's a lot, but in the grand scheme of athletics, it's not very many opportunities to show the world what I'm capable of. You know, there's tons of techniques that I do and have done in the room and have done at a high level and drilled thousands of times that I haven't had the opportunity inside the octagon to show you guys yet. So it's really difficult to kind of balance everything, and you know, we do play a very risky game. So you know, doing it in the safest way possible is going to keep fighters' careers longer and maybe even prepare them better, in my opinion.
And last thing for me, as you said, you fought so many times, one of the most. Is there anything you feel like you haven't seen at this point? Do you feel like you've seen it all when it comes to fights?
Just about, you know. I mean, stylistically, there might be things that I haven't seen, but like, you know, that stuff's easy to get over. You know, like the stupid stuff, right? the feeling like garbage on fight day for whatever reason, and fighting through it and being able to pull it out, or you know, feeling that everything is great and then just it not being your night. Those are things that completely mess with people, and you know, I've been through those types of things, and I feel like the level of experience that I have, like, you know, I've got things that I could input, I think, into whether it be, you know, training styles or even equipment, honestly, that I think could honestly change the game, change the way we train, which is going to change the way we fight. So it's yeah, I don't know where I was going with that. Started rambling.
Hey, Jim. Just one. Dustin Poirier kind of re-ushered in this popularity in the calf kick, and everyone's talking about, you know what? He's saying, man, because it hurt like when Jim Miller did it to me. What does that mean to you? Because obviously that's all the rage right now in training.
You know, the calf kicks are just one of those things. I started training that calf kick, cut kick is what we were calling it back in the day, back in 2012 for when I fought Nate. And unfortunately, one of those things, I shredded a muscle in my leg like 2 minutes into the fight, so it was difficult to be throwing those kicks. But you got to know that it's gonna hurt you too, right? Like you throw the calf kick, and it's not pleasant when you're landing it. I throw them in training, but it's more of like a check, because it's kind of a douchebag move to really blow somebody's calf out in training, because the shin guards don't really do anything. You know, I'll kick somebody in the thigh all day, but the calf kick you got to be a little bit easier on. But like for me, when I started training them, I mean, I used them against Lozon that first time, and I actually messed my shin up real bad, and it was I jumped right into the camp for Healy, and it like if I touched my shin for months there, it would swell up and be in pain, and so it's one of those things that, like, I was learned to throw it before my shins were conditioned that well, and then of course, like over the years, I've dealt with, you know, knee and shin injuries and foot injuries and toe injuries, so like then I'm not throwing as many kicks in training, so then it just doesn't come out in the fight, because we really are the product of those last couple of weeks leading up to a fight. Like, I mean, Dan Henderson will always have the H-bomb, but when he's 80 years old, it's going to come a lot slower, you know, and he's probably only got one, you know, in the tank. So that's just the way that it is. So, like, yeah, so I haven't thrown them as much as I would have liked to, you know, especially he gives me that bump, that shout out about it. He did kick me first with it when we fought. He kicked me like twice, and I was like, wait a second, I can do that back. You know, but yeah, it's a difficult one, because you'll land it a little bit wrong, and then you're like, oh, I don't really know if I want to throw that anymore, and you kind of just got to decide to do it and push through it.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Guys, we should have Gilbert Burns in a second. What's up?
Here we are, just a couple days out from a world title fight. Give me the idea, man. What's the feelings like inside of you right now?
I'm super excited and been waiting for so long. You know, November, December, maybe January. We're finally here. I'm very excited. I'm super happy to be here. But still a lot of work to do. You know, a lot of media, a lot of media. I'm not a complainer. I'm doing everything on my best. But a lot of media. Still got to train, still work to do. I still study a lot, seeing a lot of things. Strategies already on my head, things that I want to do, but still a lot of work to do, and I hope everything still going on, you know, and then we make that fight happen on Saturday.
I was going to say, does that little worry in the back of your mind just a little bit after everything you've gone through?
Yeah. It's still like, first time here in Vegas, it wasn't the best time. Got COVID, had to drive back. But one before was great because it was the title of the fight. So I have good memories here, more than bad memories. And but still, I got to live by the hour, by the day, you know, make sure everything goes as planned. And but yeah, still have little things. I can't wait to come Friday, make that way, you know, face off, and come Saturday night. I'm excited. I'm making the days count, counting the hours, and very excited.
You know what the storyline is here, man, the former training partners that have worked together. But, I mean, realistically, tell us, I mean, is there much of a psychological edge or a tactical edge that either one of you might have based on your experience together?
Not really. We had a lot of wars together. He can say, oh, I beat him a couple rounds. But I say, yeah, but I beat you a couple rounds too. So it's kind of very even, the advantage that we have knowing each other's game. The thing that I believe I got advantage is the teammates, because he left the team, and all the teammates that helped me getting prepared for him know him very well, and every single one of them, like, oh, he does this good, watch out here, oh, you're gonna hit him with that one. So that feedback from my teammates was very good, from the coaches as well. Was very different. If it was just me and Kamaru, yeah, 50-50. I know him, he knows me. But the difference with the teammates and the coach, yeah, that give me a little advantage, I see.
Yeah, that's an interesting point. Of course, you were a week out from fighting him back in July. So I'm curious, in getting ready this time, did you change anything in terms of either how you prepared or your game plan, or is it pretty much just, hey, man, we had the right plan, we just got to do that again?
I kind of follow a lot of the plan that I had. But for sure, I had a lot of more traps. You know, I have a lot of more time to see. I saw the Masvidal fight. I saw a lot of things that I could use. I do believe he's going to come with little new things, you know, not a lot of things, but a couple new things. Trevor Whitman, he's known as a good coach. I believe more as a boxing stance. So his hand might be a little bit sharper, but the plan is the same. Every time that I go to the octagon, I don't want to just hold the guy. I don't want to just hang. I don't want to buy time. I want to finish the guy. And that's what I'm looking for. The way I see that fight's going, or I'm going to knock him out, or I'm going to submit him. And that was the strategy on the first time. Now I have more time to plan, to prepare, to get better, got very strong to that division right now. We're still in my speed. And I believe I'm going to bring a lot of danger to this fight.
What was it like for you watching the Masvidal fight? I mean, was that torture, or were you scouting? I mean, what was the feeling like?
Yeah, that was painful. I think the two painful moments that I had on 2020 was Hunter called me saying they got positive, and they sending guys to test me again. And after a couple of hours, he confirmed that I was positive again, and all my coaches were positive. That was the worst news. And the second one was when Max Holloway fight was over, and I saw Masvidal walking in instead of me. That hurt me a lot, you know. That was like, man, it's supposed to be me there right now. And then saw Kamaru getting freaking tired after the first round, and I was just like, man. And then I had a couple whys. I was like, why? Why? But turned out that I got the fight. I got a lot of more time to get stronger, to get prepared, to get ready. And I do believe that right now I'm in a way better the Gilbert Burns in February is way better than Gilbert Burns was last July. So it's okay. It is what it is. I think everything happened for a reason. I still don't know the reason. One day I will know the reason, but I do believe it was for the better, and I believe on a better shape right now.
Stylistically, it's a super interesting fight, right? So I'm curious. I mean, do you think he'll wrestle with you? Do you think he'll be willing to try? I mean, that's such a great part of his game, but it would seem like a very risky move against you. So do you think he'll wrestle?
I hope so. And I do think we're going to wrestle. We're going to grapple. You're going to the cage. You're going to strike. I don't think he's afraid of me. I'm not afraid of him either. And it's going to be a battle, and I'm looking forward to it. But I do hope we grapple a lot and we wrestle. I want to wrestle. He's a wrestler. Let's wrestle. I want to wrestle with him.
The last thing for me, I mean, we think about your beginning, right? Your dad, exchanging for Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu lessons, and now you're here fighting for a UFC world title. What would it mean to you and to your family for you to get this world title?
Will mean the word for me will be a confirmation of my parents, my dad making the tough but the right decisions on the right time, and me conquering that UFC world title will mean a lot. And then the way I said that multiple times, not only for me, it's for me for sure, because I do what I love, I do what I want. I want to be the champion. I don't have to be, but I want it to be. And I do that for me first because I like to fight. I love to fight. That's what I love to be, is inside the octagon. But I do for my family as well, for my team, for the whole Brazilian fans, the Brazilian nation. They suffering so much right now with COVID as the rest of the world. And I want to be a good hope for these guys, See, they know from my beginnings, from where I came from, and I'm here right now on that big stage. So I want to show to everyone in Brazil that if I made it, they can make it too, because it wasn't easy. It wasn't easy. I had a lot of ups and downs, but it wasn't ever impossible. I always believe in myself. I had a lot of good mentors on my, my whole journey, on my whole career. I have a great coach, great fighters behind me, a lot of great person, and I made it, and then I just want to make that very clear in Brazil, because if I could make, why not, and then I want to be that big hope from Brazil, and it's not only for me, for sure it's for me, but it's for a lot of more people, so it means the world for me to be able to give it back for my parents and for a lot of person in Brazil, so I'm very looking forward. I'm super hungry. Hope everything goes okay these couple next days, and Saturday night, you guys see a new king, a new champion.
Gilbert, over here. In your mind, why do you think this fight took so long to happen?
A lot of things happened in between, to be honest. The first thing that my manager, Ali Abdelaziz, in the UFC approached me was for November 21st. And I heard, not sure, that Kamaru needs to do a steam cell. He needs to get better. So, and then they said, December 12th. But then I know a lot of guys that he trains with in Florida, and the guy said, he's saying he's not fighting December. Even before the UFC confirmed that, they said, he's not fighting. He's training, but he's not training, And I kind of knew. I said, man, it's not going to be December. And then I was just like, and then they said January. But then I heard Conor ask for that date on January, so it ended up being February. So I don't think he was physically ready, and I know him pretty well. I know Kamaru Usman gets so many injuries that he needs to take care. And a Conor McGregor fight, so I don't think he was avoiding me, but I think it was, a lot of things that was happening.
He left your team and your former coaches, and he's been pretty cool about it, but he recently started saying, I need to show the junior guy that he can't beat the varsity guy, and these coaches are telling him that he can beat me, and he can't really. Do you think maybe as the fight's getting closer, he's starting to get a little bit annoyed about the situation?
To be honest with you, I don't care what he feels, but I do believe he's a little, he still had a little feelings with the coach, with everything, and I just hope they close that capture, they close that phase of their life good. Coach end up good, and he's been good, happy with his with his choice, and it is what it is. I think he's a little bit like, when you finish that relationship and you're not in peace. I do believe he's a little bit on that stage, but I hope they finally close that capture and go to the next one.
I, like you just said, you want them to be better off, but
Yes.
in part of you, does that not think, well, maybe there's an advantage for me if he looks in my corner and sees his old coaches, hey, I could have just that little percent advantage?
To be honest, as soon as you get right there in the octagon close, he's a champion for a reason. I do believe we're going to hit that wall. I will and he will too. And if you watch a lot of fights, the Colby Covington fight, and a lot of fights, he hit that wall sometimes on the beginning. And then if you saw, he was with the open eyes looking at the coach. And Henry was the one, hey, you're doing good, relax. Keep doing what you're doing. But Henry's not going to be there this time, not for him, not for me. So let's see who's going to dig deep and see who really wants. Because I'm freaking hungry right here. I want to win that title, whatever it takes. I said multiple times, whatever it takes, I'm willing to die right there. I want to become a champion. It's not, I don't have to, but I want to. And we'll see when it's time to dig. He said multiple times he can dig so deep. So let's dig. I'm ready to.
I know you said it was even most of the time in your sparring, but if there's one thing you can remember that you can take away being like, I know in this area I haven't beat from those spars together, what is it?
I know I can submit him anywhere, anytime, in the bottom, on the top, in the cage, anywhere. He knows I can submit him. He might watch out for this because he knows. Like he said, oh, people know who's gonna win. He said, yeah, they know. Yeah, he knows. He knows you.
Last thing for me, you just mentioned about all the media stuff. Seeing how nervous you are about this fight actually happening, is it talking about it making it worse? That every day you're going, oh my God?
To be honest, I like it. Here right now, I like your guys' question, but a couple questions was just same questions, and I hang up with one guy and they come to the next guy and they do exactly the same questions, and I was just like, that was a little annoying, but I try to, I like to show a little bit my personality, my who I am, my training. I just try to still, even sometimes I get a little annoying with a couple of questions, not yours exactly, but I still trying to, give the best out of me,
Well, if you become champion, you're going to get asked annoying questions like every week, so.
I cannot wait for that.
Gilbert over here. And if you heard this question already, I'm sorry.
You're good.
Your head coach, he said he's not going to coach you because his relationship with him. I mean, you're the one who stayed with your team. Does it bother you that he's not going to be here for you?
No, and I really understand. When you a coach, think about you as a coach or as a mentor or, I don't know, as a father. And you make one guy so good, and then you make the other guy too. They both fighting, like your two kids fighting or your two best students fighting. I don't know if I would coach anyone. I would just let you guys go out there and resolve that. And then he make that super clear for me. I really love Henry, and I respect him so much. And I respect him a lot, And then even in the beginning, I say, how much I love you, how much I support you. It's up to you. If you're not feeling good, I'm okay with it. And that was his decision. But we're still training together every single day. And I understand his decision. I always respect Henry,
There's a lot going on at welterweight, a lot of big fights, a lot of guys at the top with a case for a title shot. If you become champion, suddenly this is your conversation now. Who do you think would be next for the title?
When I become a champion, no one's safe in that division. They better keep fighting. They better keep busy, because if they're not busy, I'm not fighting with those guys. Those guys make one fight a year and I'm number 5, and they want to hold that position forever. They're not fighting. But if they stay busy, they stay there. No one's safe. I'm fighting any one of the top 5 right there. I think the most guys that deserving as of right now might be Leon Edwards with a win over Khamzat Chimaev, and Colby Covington right there too. But they got to stay busy. And like I said, no one's safe. I love to fight. Don't think, I'm going to get the belt and I'm going to chill. No, as soon as I get that belt, I don't know when, because, those, now I understand those guys, because those 5 rounds camp are not easy. Not easy. 3 rounds camp is a different. But 5 rounds camp, those are tough one. And then I'm on the middle, and a couple guys coming. Beginning of the camp, we're doing 7 6-minute rounds, 7-minute rounds. It's not easy. So for sure, my body needs I need a little rest. I need to spend a little time with my family. But when I say a little time, it's like 2-3 weeks. It's not like 3 months, 5 months. No, it's 2-3 weeks. But I'm looking forward to come back as soon as I can. We say June, July to defend again. Then another one at the end of the year. I'm gonna be a busy one. I love to fight. I love what I do. I'm 34 years old. I do believe I'm very healthy. I don't have no surgeries on my body. I'm pretty healthy. I might be 5 more years on me. Let's say 4 to 5. No more than 5, but 4 to 5. And I want to fight all the best guys in the world, and I'm gonna stay busy. So me winning that title, all the top 15, you guys not safe, because I'm gonna give a shot to anyone that is in the position they're gonna fight and line them up. I'm coming.
Thank you.
We have Bobby Green right here for you. Bobby, we're ready for you.
Bobby, it's good to see you again, man. Talk about the last time out, man. I mean, I know that was a difficult result overall. Was it frustrating, to see the win streak snapped, and then also just the decision itself?
I know, bro. Don't even remind me. What is wrong with these judges? They're fired. I got twice as many numbers as him. I don't know how you saw that, but it is what it is. I'm so used to it, We're in Black History Month. Let's have fun.
Well, I mean, are there any lessons you can take out of it? Because I know we always say, well, if you win or you learn, right? You learn. But when it's something like that where you're pretty sure you won and then you didn't, I mean, is there anything you can take out of that and change, improve, adjust?
That's a great question, bro. I'm going to try to keep it real with you. Oh, shit. I don't know, bro. Like, with this shit, it's so crazy, bro. It's so crazy. I just got to take my lickings and keep it going, I'm just a strong man. Like, y'all done broke my heart a few times, and hey, I'm right here. And I came back again, and then came back again. You can't break me, okay? I'll be here.
Fair enough. So then you get this matchup with a fellow veteran like yourself. Obviously, he's had more octagon walks than anybody. What did you think when they came to you with the name Jim Miller?
What did I think? It's got just as much experience, maybe a little bit more. I thought, same thing I thought for Clay Guida. What can I give this guy that he hasn't seen before? They've seen everything. The best strikers, the best ground guys, wrestlers. What can you give them that's different? And Jim knows it. Jim said it best. He said, I'm unique. And that's the best compliment you can give a fighter, is that I've been working at my craft and my style. My style is unique, and you can't prepare for it. You can't figure out me. I'm going to switch it on the fly. I call myself like a quarterback. Like, I get out there, and I'm like, oh, yeah, that was the game plan, but I'm throwing the whole game plan out. This is how he's fighting, and this is how we're going to fight. Like, my coach be like, man, I want you to move more. I'm like, nah, coach, he's standing in front of me. We got to go toes. So I call different plays according to the fight. If that guy's fighting like this, I need to be able to go, oh, call an audible. Switch it up. We're not doing that. We're doing this. Yeah.
Is there an overall philosophy to your style? I mean, as you said, it's incredibly unique. It's incredibly entertaining. I mean, is there like an overriding philosophy to it?
Is there a philosophy to it? I just want to be remembered. I just want to be respected by my peers, Like, I feel like all these cats be hating on me, like, and don't want to give me my shine, just because of my record and what I deal with. But I felt like Dustin Poirier is the only guy that ever really beat me, And I'm not going to go into that fight, but anyways, I just be doing me, bro. I'm having fun with this shit. I made almost $500,000 last year. I'm fucking on. Ain't nobody beating me right now. I'm fucking on.
What does drive you? You know what I mean? Do you still dream of a world title, or is it
Fuck no. I hate the burst out bubble because that's what every fucking fighter says. Like, oh, I want a world title. I want a world title. No, I'm trying to take care of all my family. You know, take care of my friends, have a great life. You know, have a little cash, a little nice car, a couple houses. I'm good. Y'all can have the game. I'm good. So let me pay my house off. Y'all can have this motherfucker. I enjoyed it. I brought my style. I hope you enjoyed it. If you didn't, fuck you.
How long do you think you want to keep doing this? Because I feel like you have this kind of tortured relationship with MMA. Like you're great at it and you're very fun and you're entertaining, but I also feel like sometimes you hate the game.
They hate me, yeah. It's a love-hate thing, you know. I hate this bitch sometimes. She loves me. She wakes me up sometimes. She gives me a little bit of love. And other days, she don't want to talk. We haven't had any conversations lately. Yeah, it's like a woman, you know. It is what it is. But you take your lickings and you try to make up. Babe, I'm sorry. Can we, you know? Oh, shit. I'm having so much fun.
So what if you could pick one, a win that's kind of boring and nobody really remembers, or a loss and a fight of the night that people walk away saying, damn, did you see that Bobby Green fight last night? Which one do you take?
Come on, bro. That's not even a close thing. I'll take the loss. I'll keep it 100. Losses don't mean anything to me, bro. They don't mean anything. Like, you have to be there and understand what happened. And so the average geek or nerd sees your record and go, oh, you lost, and you lost. Nah, you wasn't there in that fight, bro. You don't know what really happened. And if you ain't paying attention, you're gonna sleep on me, and I'm gonna wake you up.
I think I know what kind of fight we're going to see, but what do you see when you play this thing out of your head? What kind of fight are we going to see on Saturday?
I've been playing a couple things in my head. Should I be more aggressive? Should I take my time and fill it out? There's so many different things. Like I said, it's a quarterback thing. I'm just going to get in there, and Jim will tell me. He'll tell me. He'll go, oh, I'm trying to do this. Okay, cool. Let's do that then.
Last thing for me, whose respect do you want most? I mean, when you fight for this, I mean, it's about paychecks for you, right? It's about, you say, taking care of your family. But do you want respect from the fans, or is it more about respect from your peers? How do you want to be remembered?
The fans are finicky, okay? The fans are finicky. Like, I like the diehards. But as far as, like you said, the money and stuff, that it's for the money in a way, yeah. I do, but the most important thing is that I could die and have my respect, you know? I still got fighters that tell me, who the fuck are you? And that I'm the worst fighter in the UFC division. I'm like, whoa, okay, interesting. I still haven't got my respect. But that's, like I said, the fans are finicky. I really want to do it for the guys like Joe Rogan. You know what I'm saying? The guys like Chael Sonnen, who's the heads. As long as I got the respect from those guys, hey, I can lay it down. But until then, I'm going to keep going at it until I can say, hey, I got Joe Rogan say, that guy's good, you know? Until then, I'm going to keep going.
Bobby, you mentioned something there about losses, about fans might think you lost, but they weren't in the fight. It sort of reminds me so like Nate and Nick Diaz have said in the past, where
those my dogs.
The record might say that you lost the fight, but being in there, you know you actually won, and the other guy knows who actually won the fight. Is that something that happens?
Yeah, Nick Diaz Army. Nick Diaz Army. All day. We all feel the same way, you know? Like, we got bullshit judges that don't really understand fighting, you know? They don't understand what we're doing and what's happening, what's an actual score and what's not a score, what's a good hit. You know, sometimes I got guys that are scoring and when I'm blocking a kick and I hit in my arm, but they scored that as a kick. I guess so. Cool.
Jim Miller was out here earlier and he says he thinks he's seen pretty much everything there is to say.
He thinks he's seen pretty much everything.
Yeah,
but I got a couple of tricks for Jim. I'm like, hey, you ain't seen this yet. I'm going to show you something different, buddy.
Well, that was my question. What tricks do you have that a guy like Jim hasn't seen yet?
I thought about that, like with Clay. So I was like, what can I do to Clay that's different? So Clay was trying to shoot in and like keep me against their cage. I think I hit him somewhere, and the crowd was like, hey, watch it. I was like, hey, I'm sorry, fucker. I told him that in his ear, you know, just to try to joke around with him. And he was like, he froze for a second, and he like, oh, okay. He just like, what the? Nobody's ever did that to me, you know? So I'm doing it.
Good stuff. Last one for me, $500,000. What was your biggest expenditure last year?
Oh, no, so don't just put that to my name. That's not what you get after taxes, okay?
Okay.
After taxes and 3 baby mamas, because I got 3, black, white, and Mexican, it went gone. It's already gone. It's already gone.
Which was the most expensive?
The most expensive thing I got?
No, out of the women.
Oh man, that's you don't even get into that. But then it's a competition. They're like, well, you spent that much on that one. You spent that much on that one. You don't love your son as much as these ones. I'm like, oh, I never can win. I can't win. I just try to do the best I can.
Why do you think you don't get the respect from your peers?
Why don't I get the respect from my peers? I feel like MMA is this kind of like a cool guy thing. Is that what that is? Is that what this? Okay. I'm sorry. Thank you. MMA is like this cool guy thing, you know? Who's the coolest right now? And everybody's riding these little waves and shit. I'm just me. If my peers don't check it out, they don't check it out, you know? Only guys that really respect it is the guys that are actually fighting me and actually have to pay attention and go, oh, okay, he is pretty good. But if you're not paying attention, most guys don't care. I don't know. We'll figure it out sooner or later. It'll come.
Don't you think it would benefit them to be paying attention?
I think that I think I got it. I think that because I'm not the knockout artist that people say, that you sometimes miss the what is the word I'm looking for? The real technique of this, you know? There's some real techniques that be happening. I'll be doing certain crazy things that I'm like, I don't know if they caught on to that. Nobody else does that. But it's okay. It's okay. You'll find out sooner or later. It'll come back. You'll be like, man, you see what he did? But it's cool. Y'all check it out when I'm dead. Like, nobody liked Ali when he was around. Now when he was slow, losing himself, and everybody showed him his love. So maybe I'll get my flowers when I'm gone.
What do you see for yourself in 2021?
What do I see for myself? I see a successful young black man on a beach with a beautiful woman enjoying his life. That's it. That's what I see for myself. I don't worry about nothing else but those things, you know? The fighting is the fight. The fight will come. It will blink and it'll be over. It'll come.
Thanks.
I'm worried about what's after the fight.
All good? Thanks, Bobby.
Thank you.
Dance around that baby mama question. Good. You did good on that.
I know the rules, Casey. Don't cover the bottom of the microphone.
Yeah, don't grab it by the antenna.
That's what I was saying. I thought maybe I'm in trouble.
We should have Kamaru next. Okay. 5 or 10 minutes, I'd say.
She got it all right.
Yes. Okay. So you can get rid of that. Thank you.
Add it to the bill today. Oof. What are we up to already?
It's getting expensive.
You think 5-10 minutes probably?
Yeah. He's on his way from the hotel. Message I got.
bring it to your resume over there.
I know. Said it's been nice working with you, PR. I'm moving to production. My camera skills.
Rivera. Maycee. Barber.
Just Usman and Maycee are left.
Oh, I was going off your old list, that's why. Like, wait, I don't see it on here. clickbait about the upload. It's some story you already written. I'm not gonna worry about it. Chelsea.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jim Miller is a light heavyweight.
I know.
I just noticed that. I was
Yeah, I sent it to Zach. I was like, I don't think this is right. I don't think either gentleman's been a light heavyweight in their entire life.
I was kind of surprised that they're not equal space in the next time. They're kind of like not equal space, but not
yeah, right? Fourth draft on the way.
you know, we there's from here. One area you're in, good to that nice thing.
I don't need to shoot, but
Okay, well, I think you're responsible for shooting.
Seb, how's the camera like?
I'm killing it, obviously.
She's a natural.
Except all the fighter interviews if I was in charge. So have you seen the Britney Spears documentary? Wouldn't be very useful.
That would be hilarious.
It would get more views, probably.
Very successful strategy. Call me when he's on a postage stamp for the new movie. No, well, aren't they always hit or miss because, merch, the merchandise department gets a hold of every movie? What's the George Clooney one? The Ben Affleck one? Justice League. Keaton. You didn't like Christian Bale? Okay, he had alright. I like George. I think the beginning of that movie was
You're not having
made.
Macy, but I'll keep you posted.
They're both in Eartha?
Made
I
to
believe so.
to just be a good movie, but right now I don't think it's gonna do well. Whereas I think Justice League stuff is like, I mean, to a degree they all are, but the second you know they're kind of putting it out there to tie into merchandise, it's like, personally, I thought what's the word, ensemble?
Yeah, you're good. That's
I
okay.
thought
Hi.
I actually thought
Like,
Kenny
nobody's getting interviewed right now.
for as many people as they had to go with. That was the one where they Justice League. No, hot take. I don't think Snyder could have done anything groundbreaking either. Everyone's getting hyped about his if he was all that good, do you really think that they would have waited this long to make it? The first Man of Steel was very well done. I'll be honest. I think that these two guys think that like you talk about the third Justice League, like the Christian Bale is the more Batman in that account. But I think that Man of Steel was good. Even Wonder Woman, like I understand why people. Personally, for me, I was like, I didn't get the whole like I told just like, do you need to be a woman to feel like running through a wall after watching that movie or something? I thought it was like there's plenty worse movies. I thought it was solid. That's what I say. But it really makes sense. All the new Wonder Woman, the first one that's alright. The second one I heard was
He's jumping over to the office.
Thanks, Nolan. tomato, like a hybrid situation.
Just stop.
Yeah, yeah. It's like,
they're good for you.
it's like a hybrid.
Anything that makes you that happy when you eat is good for you. Who does? Even when you used to live here. Chelsea, what's new?
Hi, how are you?
How's the holiday?
Thank you so much for your
I was like, it's not that bad. There's no one I'm gonna see like me to be like mad at. So I was like, yeah, just calm down.
appreciate it. Like I said, I'll get my introduction sent over to you guys after.
Get out of the don't have a lot of family around.
Where does most of your family live?
You know what? So actually, it's just my mom and dad who are in the United States. My dad's family, all the aunts and uncles and cousins in Mexico, and then my mom's family in Colombia. So, yeah, it tends to always be pretty small. Even then, I sometimes hang out with friends or something. But it's like,
And now it's so
just
hard.
bring the little family together.
Yeah. Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, and
Good.
then my parents are split, so it's always like, when I was younger, it used to be like, look, go one or the other, and now that I'm older, it's like, look, if you guys live close enough, we could all hang out. Otherwise, it's just,
Yeah.
we don't need to do this. It's like, okay, the time's up, I gotta go.
Yeah, exactly.
So they've gone to that mature place, but when I was younger, it was like, okay.
Yeah, that's hard. It's nice to
Now, I'm assuming you live around here, right?
Yep, and my two sisters live here, and my parents live here, and then my brother lives in LA. So it's pretty easy for him to just zip in.
And did you guys always live out here?
Yeah, I'm from here.
That's nice. It's like, well, I gotta go back to Oregon and I live in LA. And it's like, yeah, that'll get annoying. But,
Yeah.
that's nice.
Yeah, so it's that.
You did dye your hair, right? Or was it just blonde?
Yes, no, I did. Yes.
I was
I
like,
know Penny walked in today and was like, wow, you have dark hair.
it's like, it's not my imagination.
Yes,
right?
I did.
It took my breath away.
I did it like right before New Year's. So
Okay.
I like forget that I haven't seen you guys. So there's still people I haven't seen that are like, oh my god, you have dark hair.
And then listen, when you do it, it's like, I know sometimes if you haven't watched it, it gets
Yep.
it'll look like
Oh,
it's
no,
shade
no,
darker.
yes.
And it's like you.
This
then
is
it's like-
dark.
Okay. You guys are gonna have quite a busy week. I'm assuming it's less stressful though doing the in-person one day and then virtual rather than trying to like cycle them both the whole day.
And it's nice then when you guys get the extra added day of being on the ground.
Dude, if you can do that, like, if you can go to a super camp or anything, have like this ridiculous body, ridiculous looks, you get in your sparring, you know, but then as you progress in your career, you know, the only thing is I think you have to be careful that you don't get replaced.
Did you do Fight Island this time around?
We did the second one in September. For half of it, after the one. Yeah, not one.
I heard this time around wasn't as fun. They had less of a little amenities to get out and around the building.
A little more lockdown because the country was a little more open, so just to try to keep everybody on the ground there safe. I think they just made it a little more secure for people that way.
She's a cutie.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, it's like they haven't posted pictures at the beach and then I realized, that was good. And then I got all my photo ops out of the way.
Yeah.
Stuck on my channel, it's like the Fight Island, the beach with the octagon right there with the nice blue. It's like, that's the banner over the top. So it's like, I got all of, you know,
Yeah.
all my souvenirs. It's so good.
Good.
How did you like it?
I thought it was great. It was obviously great to experience thought and good.
I think it was very fun to, like, for me, it's like, oh, everyone talks about it, it's like so opposite lives, you know, you get to have that,
It's like a nice, like,
it's pleasant, I thought everyone was chill.
I
Everyone was like,
I know it's
about
from
the food and the money, it's like, it was easy to manage. I can tell people, it's like, I don't know if you've ever been to like Disneyland and Anaheim, you know how they have all the resorts around there? Like, it's like, it's just kind of like going over there. It's like you're just in that block of hotels.
Less fun
and then
ride stuff.
you yeah. You're in the block of hotels and you go to the beach. It's like, it's exactly the same. You know? You just can't go into downtown area. So. You get the vampire like, no, the cool palace looking stuff, I only saw from the plane.
Yeah, that was not part of it, unfortunately.
Someone important's over there. Is this your camera or is this just the backup that they
It's a
have around?
UFC camera. Yeah, I was like, do you guys have an extra one? And they're like, all right, Chelsea, you're going to record. I was like, well, you guys might be getting like Blair Witch Project level recordings, but it will at least, I just have been pushing on and off.
You know, it's all Oh, okay, just set it back. I've been looking at a camera similar to that.
Yeah, it's one of our
Okay. That's the thing with the other ones. I think the cameras a lot, but the lenses are always very annoying to figure out. So I think if I get something like that, I'd get a lens similar so just to see what size it is.
Got it. Okay? Yeah. Everything's good.
So I'm always a little curious because I know like Renee is close to the top and then we have Chris, you, Nabi, I guess what's the hierarchy? Because I'm always a little unsure like what
Yeah, Renee
who's
manages
what.
our team.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then it's kind of all you guys and then around the same level
Yeah.
altogether? Okay. That's what I was wondering. Chelsea is her supervisor boss, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, no, we all kind of work pretty much together about Renee's expense.
Okay, and then sometimes you're doing this or the tent and something else inside. Okay,
Yeah,
that
we just like to mix it up just so everyone kind of gets a chance to do something different.
I get you. All right. Yeah, I was just like, I think that's right. But,
Yeah.
But you guys make a brand new one every time, or every pay-per-view, right?
Every pay.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, they aren't too bad. Usually different sponsors and stuff for different events.
Oh, yeah,
It's like
yeah.
sponsor. It's
You going onto Twitter and being like, no, me, about a lightweight. If you're about to make the heavyweight and I'm like, you fucking beat Francis Steve. It's still less. I think you could beat Francis at 29. My story is like still crazy that it's actually like was trekking through the Sahara Desert for a month, 14 months. Yeah, and then he was like hiding on a boat for a month to get across the sea. Yeah, it's a story I enjoy. Working in the sand and then it turns out but I wonder you're fucking space and then the fact he still goes back there to do days work okay, so they said Joe, I go back, I'm working the sand and then I go back, I work next to the guy that I work next to.
Hey, Ken.
Yeah.
I was gonna ask, was you doing all the questions in the post fight this past week, right?
Yeah, man, I was fucking solo besides this guy who.
Decided to go quiet. Ken, I thought you did fantastic. I was listening to the Benil interview, the Corey interview, and I was like,
that. The
dude.
Benil one, man, that was
I was gonna say, dude.
that one got me by the end. I think all of us were just like, I was like, it was funny because after Morgan we were talking, and I started getting like goosebumps. I was like, dude, I didn't expect that. Like we all got so super emotional at the end of it. Like got like really like choked up, and it was just like, because I had no idea.
Yeah.
So like when he came out and said that, I was just like, oh. And I was like, fuck, how do I move forward from this? But I thought he did so good.
Oh
He
yeah,
was so
I loved
open.
it. That was like one of those interviews. It's like I'll say it. I wasn't that invested in him before. I thought he was like a more mid-pack guy and just didn't have that. When you look at the guys in there, I was like, man, what? I have not been watching enough stuff.
That's
I
it.
thought you did a fantastic job getting all that out of him. I thought
Thank
that
you
was the
very
most.
much. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
I
I
appreciate
was gonna
it.
say it's like, hey,
I don't.
man.
I mean, I'm more than happy to just sit back and let everybody do their thing.
I might have
But it's
noticed.
nice every once in a while that
Yeah.
when we have to or whatever. I'm more than happy to just be a videographer.
Alright.
You know, but that was yeah, that was something. Because after that, I was just like, but what's crazy is that even on YouTube, which a lot of people love to hate on people, but it was just like, wow, Benil, you know. And I was like, and I felt good about that because I was like, that's what I felt after it. So to see others that were just like, wow, this guy's, I got to pay attention to this guy. It's so good. But thank you very much for saying that.
Yeah, dude, yeah.
It was,
I was listening. I was like, "Hey, my man having quite the day over here." like John Morgan, you're taking everything I work for. No, man. Yeah, I noticed that, and I was like, "Hey, I know he doesn't usually ask that much. He's having quite a night." But no, I thought
I appreciate it.
I thought you directed all of that. I just noticed, man.
No, I appreciate that very much. It's nice to know that you can still do it every once in a while.
Yeah.
I'm more than happy half the time. I'm like, do it, guys, do your thing. That's why it's good having a good team that I can just like,
Yeah.
you know.
I mean, for me, with people, it's like, it's a long drive. It's a long wait for me. So it's like, and it's some,
But you're
like,
here, man. That's good.
yeah. But it's like for me, it's like if I don't say anything, I'm like, I really could have done this job from home. I feel like so. To me, it's important to get out there and ask, and
Well, and they remember that as well.
I noticed.
I mean, that's part of it, you know. I mean, you gotta grind them, but they remember that stuff, you know. But that's why people are always like, man, what is it? We want to come cover. We want to come cover. It's like there's all these smaller shows. You could come cover. You come and you grind. Who's gonna get credentialed on for like these?
Oh yeah.
That's it. You
And
know?
that's how, you know, that's how we got it, was that, you know, people ask us, like, oh, you guys don't have a movie. It's like, honest to God, I believe it's because we were doing the UFC Uticas and UFC Alabama, South Carolina, those small shows that,
100%.
yeah,
100%.
the Helwanis and everybody weren't traveling out there for.
Yep, you're completely right.
Yeah, and then
I
it's
believe
like,
that completely.
and we did a bunch of those, and it's like, well, now we're at the Masvidal versus, et cetera, et cetera.
That's it.
No, and it's and I know that. And so part of me is like, dude, if you're here, you kind of actually do work, not just sit around and, you know. But yeah, like for me, it's like when I come up, it's like even it's sometimes it's like, let's be honest, they're great at what they do when they go first, and it's like it's hard to get something good at the same point. But it's like if I don't, I'm gonna feel like, what did I do today? So it's like for me, I kind of need it.
That's why, you know, sometimes too, and I know depending on who's there, for like the way I approach it, as long as the answer is given that we need and we got something, like I don't need to hear my voice saying by any means, as long as it's done. But in the case where, yeah, if you feel like, you know, you want to make sure that you're contributing, and what's the point of coming if you're not participating?
Yeah.
And it's true, you know. I just reached that point. I was like, you know, as long as it gets done, I'm not going to kill a guy asking the same thing over just so I can. Cause some people ask and they want to throw their name.
Yeah.
I'm so and so. Let me ask the same question that somebody else just
Oh,
asked
I've
me.
seen that, and then I'm like, man, if it isn't, if it's honestly not a new question or not a new angle, like, but it's like some people, they need to have their voice on the clip, and it's like, I want to see where they're at with the women. Go with the back. I'm gonna
I
set
don't
the.
know what happened with the schedule today, but I went so out of fun.
Still got a couple minutes, Joseph. Yeah.
Hey, Chuck, are they in the car or?
country, I'm gonna go snag one of your media samples. Oh yeah, no. He was like, you're not gonna outrun me in those shoes. Take my shoes off.
It's a damning indictment on you.
I think that's funny. Or just as, what, like peak physical shape.
Yeah. Are we going with that?
That's the narrative I prefer.
It's not necessarily you'll be ready to go home.
What are you doing? Gross. You just have the one tattoo, John?
Got when I was in high school, probably in the Navy. I was intending to get more, because I like it. But my first wife hated tattoos, so I didn't take any more.
That's yours, huh? Something over there. I just got
The cat saluted.
I just got my calf done. That's
This is my senior year of high school.
I haven't seen you that, but it's just.
I got married when I was like 22.
It was like so different.
That's it. It's all the guys in the back. It was perfect.
You don't even know what you don't know. Like, your boyfriend's great, but like, he's not the end all be all. Because I did my first when I was 23 to 27.
It's the truth, man. Like pink,
That's why when you see like a 24-year-old, me and my partner, and brother's like, well, just end it. If you're having problems now,
yeah.
kind of attract the losses, bro.
Not worth it.
Yeah, guess what? It's not like that.
I like these guys.
All of my exes stuff.
Clearly, that's why they say you get rid of it.
I sense a pattern.
Yeah, there's one consistent theme, but I can't put my finger on it.
Gotta put out a little different energy, Oscar. Smile more in those.
Can't improve on perfection.
Smile more in those dating app pictures.
I haven't been on it.
Suddenly different.
Really?
Pose it.
That's even
Pose it
crazier,
like your
knowing
friend's
what
dog.
you're
Doesn't have to be yours.
That's a perfect.
There you go. Watch how the spikes change immediately. So what's new, man? How you been? How's Fight Island?
It was, well,
That's what I figured. It's like without all this stuff, I was like,
like work was good, but not a lot else to do. And
it's like I would have had to bring a PlayStation or something for that, right?
it was, it's fine. I got I got good content. I was happy with that. So.
Oh I saw. Hey, correct me if I'm wrong. 2 Conor McGregor one-on-ones.
2 Conor McGregor.
My man.
Fucking. Well, actually 3. They just wouldn't let me put out one.
I mean, you keep going, they're gonna start really thinking you're related. No, hey, congratulations, man. It's always good to see you shout you out because I know how big of a deal that is.
Yeah, it's cool. But yeah, so other than that,
I'm glad your boss knows who you are.
yes. Well, for a while it felt like you did. But yeah, since then, it's been chilling. I didn't do last week's event, so it kind of feels like the first one back for a while.
Kids, like when I say how old my baby sister is, all of our people are like, holy shit, how old is that? Like, you don't recognize it yourself, but it's like people's kids.
Stay busy.
Yeah, you can try and come to the babies.
Yeah, that's the plan. And then, so you guys are probably going to see me more often.
Yeah, why's that?
I just think some of the other guys got stuff going on, so I'll probably be working a lot more than I did before. So, but yeah, like, there you go, man. I got you. I'll be at like Contender Series, and,
Oh yeah?
not all of those. But,
Smarty
like,
pants.
if I'm going to cover the Saturday event and there's a Contender Series, I'll be here.
That makes sense.
Protocol learners is tough. Like,
feel like, look, it's like if I get here Wednesday and there's an event on Tuesday, it's like, what am I, like, Gabriel, why aren't you here?
I think you should say that as well, because that usually means you get Dana on Tuesday, not the weekend.
Yeah.
My girlfriend was a fifth grade teacher and she taught in the summer school for the year.
So what do you usually do when you're not churning out all this content, man? What's your thing?
Sit at home or drink in a bar, to be honest. That's my great unhealthy hobby. But
You're not alone.
I'm a British man, so I just enjoy drinking. But
So what's your thing, man? Do you, like, pre-COVID, do you usually get out and just, like, enjoy the soccer game? Football, I'm sorry. You know, or what's your thing?
I like to hang out with my friends on the weekend and just go for a walk down Fremont Street, have a few drinks. Just fuck around. I'm a very, very immature person. I'm clutching onto my youth every second it takes. So as long as I can still justify going out spending my money on booze, I'll be
You know, one day we won't be able to, man.
that's my answer.
But with COVID, you know, I don't shave as often, so it's like I'm behind the mask and I'm not seeing people anyway, so let's just cut that off the schedule.
It's kind of crazy, yeah.
And then I'm starting to see more, you know, silver whiskers coming out, and I'm like, let's not remind ourselves of that.
So they're still homeschooling?
Yeah.
For how long, do you know?
I mean, they have the option to go back. We just decided, like, let's just finish out the semester and all. We already started it. Let's do that.
Even after the vaccines?
Yeah, I think so. Like, us being vaccinated helps a lot because, like, I know people are going to get us sick. But I just really have this fear that, like, there's some kind of long-term repercussions that we don't know yet.
For kids?
Yeah. Because I know they say, like, oh, well, kids don't really get it. Okay, but what if my kid never really gets sick? But then in 10 years, it's turns out he's got a heart condition because it's not like you can just do more about it. You know? But I'm like, right now, like, I don't want to do this forever. I'm like, well, man, let's just fight our finish out this semester and we're talking.
Are you nervous that he's going to fall behind?
That's what we were just talking about. Like, the good thing is, like, my wife, yeah.
Oscar, you can see your way out.
Like, the fact that she's on top of everything, she checks everything, she's working, you know what I mean? So, I'm not. I do see how it's possible. My wife being a stay-at-home mom, and she's like, she wants to be involved in everything. She's strict. Sometimes I have to tell her, like, hey, you know. She's like, shut up, this is my department. I'm like, all right, look, I feel bad for my kid. I'm like, sorry, yeah, play kid, man.
I wonder if we'll see like an impact in like 10 years of people this age.
There's no question about it. Like, my wife too, like, some other kids. And I mean, I can see it, like, behind. I mean, like, if you don't have parents that are able to be involved in something like this, which we're saying, like, a lot of parents that can't, you know, like, both parents work or single parent don't work, you know. It's hard. Like, even for me, like, I feel bad sometimes. Like, my kid will come in and I'm trying to work on something. You know, like the virtual meeting is something like, he's like talking to me and stuff. I'm trying to watch this, like, I need to hear what you're saying. But then you feel bad because you're like, oh yeah, that's right, I'm the only social interaction.
I was about to say, do you think it's more like educational or social?
Yeah, a little bit. And then they teach everything different now anyway. Like the way they teach math, and they're like, if the kids will tell their parents like that's not how they do it.
I was going through like multiplication or something with my kid the other day, and like my wife was showing me how they wanted me to do it. I was like,
The math thing is
yeah.
ludicrous.
I was like, this is stupid.
My friend that's a fifth grade teacher showed it to me, and I was like, I would be.
What? They've changed the math?
9 times 9 is 81. It just is. I can't tell you why. I don't know how to show you the work.
Yeah.
That's just what the answer
What
is.
do they want you to do?
This common core thing that they teach now, it's like, yeah, they want you to do it. I'm like,
It's like the logic behind how you get to 81.
yeah.
So you have to be able to like explain. And I'm like, I just know it because I memorized it.
Nine lots of 9 is 81.
They want you to do critical thinking for math, which is like it's more just.
I started to write down the problem, and my wife was like, they don't want to do that. I was like, I don't care. I was like, this is how you multiply. Like, because when you do it like this, you can do it in your head because you can visualize that and you can see it, you know?
My girlfriend says like you should let kids do it both ways and you weren't supposed to do this. So if the kid had the right answer, you should give them partial credit. Like the kid, the way we do the problem,
Right.
get to the right answer, but then when you move over, it's the way you're supposed to show the work and you couldn't
I'm going to
work backwards.
Google this now. It's so
It's
cute.
called Common Core.
Common core, yeah.
And she's like, you're not supposed to do that. Like, they teach you only give credit for Common Core. My girl's like, my friends like, you just fail everyone in math. Like, no, I'm giving partial credit.
It's exactly like, my wife, she doesn't want to do that.
always 81. Like that just is the answer.
No, the answer is always C.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, my thing is like, I mean, I don't know about you guys, but even in-person school, not everybody was freaking committed to that and lights out. So I can't even imagine it's like trying to get the students collectively online.
I tell you the one thing that's been funny to watch though is that like it is tough. It's definitely tough, but like all the technology that they have to do because there's like I mean they've got like 3 different programs that they use. They got to switch into like breakout rooms, like even when they're on their Zoom calls. But what's funny is like how they just it's not even a problem at all. You know, it's the parents that can't figure it out. The 8-year-old kid's like, oh, I got this. We go here. We fill this out. We switch that program.
Well, I mean, I remember like, you're a little bit older than me, but it's like computer classes, like when you have enough time, like they were teaching us like Photoshop at some point. I couldn't teach myself how to do that right now. I'd get such a headache, and you know, you gotta have a lot of practice with it.
When I was in middle school, they were still teaching. They were still like writing like basic, where like you did like 10 space and then like write a little bit of code.
Exactly.
Where you just wanted a little guy skiing down a hill or something. I remember we thought it was so cool.
Exactly.
Dude, I walked in one day and my kid was editing a video in Final Cut. I've never shown him Final Cut. I've never even like reached it with him, but I walked in there and he had like just taken like a bunch of photos and made like a collage of transitions and stuff. I'm like, what the fuck?
That's
It's
awesome.
like, hey, it's like, you want to work part-time on Sunday morning?
I told him, as soon as he gets old enough,
MMA Junkie has a new intern.
he'll be helping Cold Coffee video edit over there in a couple of years.
Unpaid intern, let's do this.
He'll be transcribing audio from interviews.
John, I asked this more for your reaction. When your son's in class, does he ask the first question?
Man, he probably asks every question. My kid is rambunctious, dude. Like me and my wife were sitting there and he was like playing video games and talking to his friend and I'm like, holy shit, it's so loud. And I was like, he's not even screaming. And I'm like, oh my god, he has my voice. And I'm like, we're screwed. We're screwed.
No, I hear that, and when they say it's like, I went to public school. You could not have gotten like 25 out of 30 of them to like all tune in class, and you tell me they're gonna do it on Skype. And then, you know, I know they take attendance and all that, and I can already imagine it's like, oh, I'm sorry, my Wi-Fi wasn't working. It's like, again, Tommy.
Yeah,
It's like, come on. And when, yeah, like some stuff legit happens. It happens to us in here, and it's like, I think this is probably one of the more state-of-the-art places in terms of being new.
It's gotta be tough on the teachers too, man. I mean, like you said, you've been cool about getting tests and stuff enough, but
I'm most likely trained to do this, you know, in person and all these techniques. All that has gone out the window.
yeah.
It's like, you know,
It
it's
is, but you know, it's funny to talk about like things are gonna change and never go back to exactly the way they were. You know, you learn to do things differently or whatever, but like it does make a lot of sense. Like when you have like snow days and you have like stuff like that, like still,
yeah.
you know what I mean?
I mean, that kind of sucks when you think about it. But yeah.
Yeah, when I was a kid, you like look forward to it.
No,
Not gonna give any of those out here anyway.
I feel like there is some stuff like, I hate to say it, but like companies, it's like, oh, you're telling me we can save how much money teaching everybody to do it? You know, it's like, oh, come on. But then I think,
there's so many companies that realize like, oh, remote work is just long. You know what I mean? Like now we don't really need to pay for all
it's
the
like
costs.
yes, it's like, oh, we don't need that many desks in here now. I think, but mind you, there's still going to be a lot of stuff. Some things people can't wait to bring it back to the way it was before and get people there. And everyone knows that's what people prefer anyway.
Probably doing myself to upload all of it at the same time. Oh, it's been bad the whole time. Well, especially with like the stream. Maybe. Now if you're running a stream. I don't even think I tested 80 on my own. At one point when I was exporting, plugging doing something, YouTube started buffering and knocked the audio out of sync. So I actually brought the stream down about fix itself, but for some reason it didn't fix itself.
The sun.
Or that sun's about to be like interface. Nah, there's so little, right? I don't think it's gonna be an issue.
So John, successful UFC debut.
John, this is your 400th UFC appearance.
Did almost break out the shorts myself. It's getting there. Picked up another bottle of Daniels for Tuesday.
So like, does
What is this
everybody
for?
have to buy lunch tomorrow, Chelsea, or were you
We
just
have,
racing for brownie points or for bragging rights?
Remember?
Oh no, he was like, oh, I think I'm gonna go snag one of the media sandwiches. I was like, no, I'm just messing around.
Oscar. Hot.
Why? Is that the one left over?
It's the one that's still been there since Christmas or Thanksgiving.
I'll get drunk tomorrow. Do you know they've got at Area 15, they have a silent roller disco.
Oh,
It's here until March 20th or something.
You
I'm
said
gonna
sound?
go
Oh,
every-
so you skate with headphones on?
Yeah, and it's like 70s, 80s disco. I'm going every weekend until it's gone. That's my fucking shit.
I haven't been over there before.
Huh?
They got like axe throwing and stuff.
Have you been in there?
No, I haven't been in it yet.
Do you want to go? It's like
But a
$30.
buddy of mine,
$30 to get in?
Yeah. And then you get one free drink with that.
That'd be a damn fine drink.
Well, yeah, but. the
$30
hip-
what, for the
the
disco?
6 hip flasks I'll have on me. Will
That's for the
also
roller
have-
disco, right? Because I don't think they charge to get in the building.
No, I think it's just for the roller disco. It's 30. Right? I'll do that.
All you would see and hear is me falling on my ass with like the headphones. You take the headphones off, just
It's going to be great because I am going to be in an absolute pickle and just holding onto the side of the walls.
So I'll be honest. I feel like he's gonna come back 3 weeks from now telling us he met his future wife at one of these things.
yeah,
I used to be able to ice skate a bit. It's probably insane.
yeah, very similar.
I went to a private school, so we got taken ice skating.
Of course you did. Yeah, at the keg, the bartender Shelly, her husband is the general manager of the
That
axe
her
throwing
way
place.
down
in
there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And so I know one of the girls that's serving that as well, but it's supposed to be fun. Like I think we've seen Max do it on like Embed or something that whole thing, but they got a bunch of other little things in there. I'd be down. I'd be down to go throw some axes at least. You can get what? Yeah.
What I did like before it shut down last year, they had the Hunger Games thing over at the MGM. That was fun. They do like the virtual, like with the bow and arrow.
Cool.
Like I thought it's gonna look cheap. It's like no, they legit sprung out for it. If you've
That's
never
awesome.
tried it, I encourage it. Oh yeah.
Yeah, look at you with some old school looking Jordans.
All right. Thank you.
Raid.
No, I've seen the tweets and stuff.
But like how fucking close they got to Romney and Pence. So you know that the officer that stopped them and led them away. Romney and Pence were in the room to the left, like standing, like they were there
I mean,
as
when
they.
they took up the stairs and
Yeah, the one he took them that way, like
I was saying,
they were in that room.
Like, he was kind of like heroic, but he like kind of distracted them.
Yeah.
And, like,
Not so heroic. He didn't have.
Do nothing to him.
Shut up, you fucking conspiracy theorists.
You have a
Stab you in your
conspiracy
throat.
theory. They're not
You.
gonna do anything
I don't know why I would think that the people who broke into the
were
Capitol
like-
building
they
saying
wanted
let's
to
hang the
have
guy would be
time.
doing
They
stuff.
brought ties to bind them.
Well, Scott, you were there. What was it like?
Yeah, Scott.
Well, let me tell you what.
People didn't
when I
know
got-
Scott Peterson
if I could've
somehow
got my
hasn't
hands
been
on Romney,
captured
I would've
from
done
storming the Capitol. Scott
I understand what the
Peterson.
intentions were of the meetings.
He's here at the UFC headquarters right now. Come get him.
That was the first
FBI,
time
if you're
Scott willingly
watching
wore a
this
mask.
That,
Hey, Scott, was that you with that moose hat sitting on the
It
dais?
See, when you wear makeup, you don't need a mask.
Scott, how did you get away after breaking all the windows?
I'm a sneaky guy.
Four black cars just pulled up. He's right FBI.
God damn, Damn, is this the longest media day ever?
This is, yes.
At least you guys got to ask questions. We were waiting in the car.
Yeah, that's, the funny thing is, you guys were in the car. I was like, damn, those poor fucks, like, literally just sat out there.
I heard you say that.
Yeah, because you guys were out there for like 2 hours?
I got there at 11:30. We got in about, what, 1:10, 1:15?
You only missed like 3 people as well.
I know.
And one was the next one, wasn't it? One of the first 3 and next
And
one?
I couldn't figure out if you guys were doing it on purpose or we were just that damn lucky.
Huh. Yeah, we did it on a
Definitely
boat.
weren't delaying it. Like, come on.
I was like, we still have a headline.
Damn.
Barber's first.
You don't
Why
want to see
not?
the future?
Why? Where are you going?
Just got to plan the next.
Insurrection.
Macy's one of you, though.
Is she really?
I can't remember if that's true. That's like fucking Jim Edwards just like told me something. He's like, no, I can't remember if that's true if I made that up. I was like, really?
QAnon gave her her accent.
That's from the kids are dead.
Yeah, you're right. Oh, whatever.
Now, don't lose me to QAnon.
Sounds Kenny and Beach, is that? You're more of a flat earther. Actually,
I'm more about science.
we haven't heard the flat earth community in a while.
Yeah, they're all over it.
They're lost.
I bought this thing to hold SD cards.
You don't know why you haven't heard from them. Facebook is shutting them off. Facebook and Twitter.
I thought you were going to say they fell off the edge.
No, they control what you hear on the mic.
Well, it's sad they're doing a bad job because I'm still seeing too much of the wrong people.
What do you say?
People need to be
You gotta keep it
allowed
in your
to
bag.
live.
I didn't say anything about that. I just said-
Yeah, he was like, just kind of losing shit.
I didn't even mean anyone talking about something
You leave
important.
it
I
out.
mean the other people on my timeline.
Fair, fucking. Are you live on this stream?
Of course. It's kind of what streams do. They go live. What else did you do over there?
How many people are still
I
watching?
was relatively,
Hey, there's some diehards.
I was relatively well behaved this time.
There's like 800.
You got 800 of us?
That are still there.
800?
Put it out there. Who's got questions for the three? The 5 media
Once
people.
you found the W, once
At
you
one
found the
point, there
drink
were like
specials, it was fine.
1,500 savages on there just waiting.
It's
Using
good they have the
themselves.
shuttle. Do you think, are we going back there in May? April and May? That's what I think it's going to be.
I was gonna say, you don't think they're gonna do the Singapore thing after all?
I think it's going to go, that's what it's going to be.
I got the impression that they were gonna do like Singapore April, May, June, and then like Abu Dhabi July.
I just don't see how they're doing that until the Tory fight and Robert Whittaker fight in America.
I don't see the point because they're bringing people from out of the country here, aren't they? What's the point of doing fight islands?
The impression I get is that it's the
Depending who they want to fight there, they might want those fans there.
and then I get the impression that it's kind of like a deal. Like it costs them the same amount of money, but they make more.
Having said that, so one thing I did just realise, the UAE is a red list country for the UK, so you have to quarantine in a hotel for 10 days. Which means they'd actually be better off fighting here
Oh yeah,
for the UK and Irish people. We should just do it. I actually quite liked it because it was the best of both worlds. It was good that it wasn't in America. Obviously, that worried me. It was good that it was like Middle Eastern because they were not just complete dicks.
Where were they all from?
A few English people in there. There's like mostly Middle Eastern.
So just random tourists, regular tourists.
Not rude at a press
It
conference.
was like the best of both because you could hear everything in the cage. You'd hear individual people in the crowd. So but when big moments happen, there was a big crowd reaction.
But It was fun hearing that on the broadcast, like the big moments, like you could actually tell it wasn't like piped in or whatever, like it was like legit crowd noise. That was kind of cool.
Does it mess you guys up if I scooch the table like this much? See, now the sun might be, like if I just go a little this way?
That's fun.
Is that okay?
You need some help?
No.
Maybe right in front of the camera. Just go
That's okay.
Like be kneeling down next to it, just like pull it over like a little bit. Chair with wheels on, just keep sliding in.
They're kind of all just been chatting back there, though.
Maycee's in makeup, and then I think Kamaru's pulling in, so I'm just trying to ask who we're getting.
What makeup? We can't all roll out of bed and look like you all.
Kamaru will be first.
Maru it is.
Only next edition will just be hard lines. Wish list. 2022 hard lines.
Hardline internet?
Yeah, that'd be like that's the only other next edition. Everything else is
Let me
perfect.
work on that for you.
Everything else is perfect. Everything else is
You know,
perfect.
feedback you give me, I always attempt to implement.
I know you do. They would never run it though. Logistically, you guys just don't have it in here.
I mean, I can barely turn this camera on, so I can't tell you anything about the internet, but I can ask the right people.
In the old kitchen, and where we used to do it, they used to have big boxes up there, and that's where I guess the old company had a bunch of hard lines in it and stuff. But I don't think they ever updated them or fixed it. But you could tell that there's none of that's in this.
But wouldn't it make more
room.
sense for them to have hard lines in your media center?
That would be good. It's still. I feel like it's still going to come down to them setting up routers and then just running
So weird, like we
to a hub.
conference and all the Ethernet cables be like, hell yeah!
And they're like, none of them work. Just salivate.
Surprise!
There's Ethernet cables everywhere. What was this place before? An e-game or something? That's e-game. Oh, no, they do gambling games.
Yeah, very sad. E-gaming, another thing I completely don't understand. My brother and his girlfriend like flew to New York, were like at Barclays, like watching other people play
That's
video.
it. People just
They're
people
totally
watch
into
it. There's like a
my
huge
brother like
market for it.
knows all the teams, was like my brother's into weird shit I don't like, but I just let him explain it to me. And I like picked a team or whatever, and him and his girlfriend like bought a shirt and like mailed it to me so I could like support my team. I was like, thanks guys. Like, they're like, yeah, and then this.
Real sports on HBO. That's awesome.
My brother paid $500 a ticket to go to Barclays, and it sold out in 6 hours.
Wow.
And my brother wasn't even sitting in like the good seats. I was like, I'm sorry, you what?
For the esports center? Oh my gosh, yeah.
When I was in Spain, there was a big tournament going on, and it was like completely packed.
And my brother was
All out in the
explaining to me
streets.
like, I guess like the biggest league, there's like 4 teams in China, 4 teams in Europe, and then like teams in the US. So he's like, then COVID hits, and like you don't really know who the best is because these people you can only kind of like be playing within your region with. And I was like, And then this happened. I was like, okay, Jack. Okay, here comes Kamaru, you guys. Here he is.
Hola, amigos. It's a little slim in here.
Hey, we're just happy to have you in person again, man, instead of all those virtual media days.
I know.
Champ, I mean, I know, nothing's normal anymore, but this is a lot more normal of a fight week than the last one you had. So I just wonder, I mean, is there a different feel, a different vibe, with things being a little bit more traditional versus last time?
I kind of asked, I asked myself that yesterday because I felt, we're quarantined to these hotels, that, UFC's doing their thing, but they're exactly not as, extravagant as the former hotels. And I was sitting there, I'm like, why am I so relaxed? Usually fight week, I'm dialed in every single day. But I felt pretty relaxed, and that could go to attest to a couple of different things. Maybe because this is kind of like the second go around mentally to prepare for this guy. And also just kind of, I'm reserved in where I'm at right now in my career, in life, a couple of things. I still have that same competitive edge, but I'm reserved to the point where I'm trying not to stress the things that don't really matter.
Yeah. I wondered about that, right? Because the last fight, it was such a circus, right? But with the circus comes a lot of extra pay-per-view buys, I imagine. You know what I mean? This one's a lot more reserved, a little bit more low-key in the build-up. So do you like this where it's not quite like last time, or do you welcome those kind of circuses because they come with the bigger paychecks?
It's a little bit of both. Of course, the paycheck is always nice. When you have a circus like the last one or the one before that, it's always nice. But this one it's okay too. But a lot of people are kind of writing this off. All friends, teammates, they're fighting each other. At the end of the day, I don't see anybody. There's no friends in there. What could be more? And that's kind of the way people have been putting it is, those other two fights were more personal and things of that nature. This one, not so much. What could be more personal than someone who you train with every day saying, I see what you have. I want that. I'm going to take that from you. What could be more personal than that? So each and every one of these fights, I approach the same. When we step in there, I see no face. I just go in and take care of business.
As you said, that's the storyline, right? The former training partners. But I do wonder, realistically, whether it be psychologically, whether it be tactically, is there really an advantage for one guy or the other, or is a fight a fight? Does that familiarity give anything extra, or does that go away once the cage door closes?
Yes, of course it goes away because I think we haven't really trained a lot together in the last couple of years. I think it does go away a little bit because he's going to try hard, and I'm going to go in there and give the effort that I always give. And I know DC said earlier this week, or maybe it was last week, that we both know what's going to take place. And of course, I like the fact that he's got all this confidence going right now, and I like it. He's put the work in the last year and a half. He's really done some good work, and I see that, and I recognize that, and I commend him for that. But we both know.
Your last 5 fights especially, it's been a run of just absolute killers, right? I wonder, where does Gilbert rank in that? Knowing that you are familiar with him, where does he rank in terms of danger, in terms of skill, among those guys that you've been fighting lately?
Gilbert is the most dangerous guy right now to date. That's why he's fighting me. If he's not the most dangerous guy, he's not the best guy, then he wouldn't be fighting me. Yeah, he's done his work, and he's improved a lot, and which is why he's here. And so I don't take him lightly. I take him very, very seriously. You know, even when we trained together, he was very tough. He was very, you know, he was one of those guys that could push me, and I like that, and I respect that. So yeah, I'm taking it very seriously, and I do think right now for sure he's the most dangerous guy.
And I know you're clearly not, looking past him, but you're starting to build quite the resume, man, and quite the, this legacy of your championship career. So, what are your goals this year? What are you hoping to accomplish? I mean, are there a number of fights you want to have? Are there things you want to do this year?
I mean, I would love to have 3 fights. 3 fights is 3 times a paycheck, so I would love to do that, But obviously, in recent years, knowing that I'm not a spring chicken anymore, and all the miles that I put on my body kind of dictates how many times I'm going to be able to fight. And plus, we're kind of in a tricky situation now with COVID. It's not just, you don't have the fans, you don't have the crowd, you don't have all these other things that kind of entice you to where it's like, yeah, I want to be on that card. I want to fight on that card. And so, I think, yes, I would love to maybe fight 3 times this year, but we'll see. We'll see. If my body permits it, I would love to do it. My body doesn't, then I have to listen to my body.
Lastly, for me, I had to ask you. The UFC released a pretty powerful video today, UFC Chronicles, about your backstory and your career. I was curious if you had a chance to see it and what your thoughts were on it.
I haven't sat through the whole thing. I've seen little clips while they were putting it together. It was an honor for me to finally share that. That's one thing that I've been seeing lately is just kind of how people and the media and fans kind of perceive me. It's the fact that just because I'm quiet, just because I'm not the most braggadocious or boisterous guy out there, they kind of overlook me. They kind of take it as kind of like a weakness, to where that's not the case at all. In most cases, the most quiet guy in the room is probably the most dangerous guy in the room. And I'm very calculated in how I go about certain things. And just the fact that I'm not loud about it, people don't really know. Like the whole situation, especially with my father's situation. Yeah, I went through that for almost 11 years, and people didn't really know about it because I don't have to sing it. I don't have to cry about it each and every day. We dealt with it. We handled it. And, it's just, I'm just thankful that he's home now, that he can actually get to enjoy this with us now.
Will he be at the fight?
No, he won't be at the fight. It's just I didn't want to cheat him of the experience. Everyone in here can agree that there's something different about a UFC event. When you're in T-Mobile Arena and it's sold out, that's different. There's a difference in that. The electricity in that building is what hooks everyone. When you come to a UFC show, that's one thing UFC does better than anybody in the world is that electricity. And I wouldn't want to rob him of that. I want him to still experience that. Hopefully it's in Africa, hopefully.
I bet you can buy him the pay-per-view now, though, huh?
Yeah, I mean, I can buy him a little bit. We might have to split it, but, I think I can afford it.
Kamaru, earlier, Gilbert was in here and he described your sparring back in the day as even. I was interested if you feel that's a fair representation.
Yeah, I mean, I never like to go into, oh yeah, this person got the better of this person in sparring, but you can just if I'm training and I'm in a training camp and I'm preparing for a fight and he's not, of course they bringing him in. His sole purpose is to come in there and push me and try to break me for those rounds because you want to get me prepared and vice versa. And so we felt those motions. We felt those with one another. Of course, there's days that he probably got the better of me and vice versa. But like I said earlier, we both know how tough this fight's going to be.
He actually did reference your quote saying, "We both know," and he said that we both know he can submit you. He says he can get you from anywhere.
So can Damon Maya.
I was curious if there's one thing you can take out of those sparring sessions with Gilbert that there's an area that you have an advantage in. What would that area be?
I'm just better. That's the thing that I say about. I've said it before. When I won the title and I said it, I let the world know I might not be the best boxer in the game. I might not be the best jiu-jitsu player in the game. I might not be the best kickboxer or karate guy in the game. But when it comes to mixing it up, I'm the best in the world, and that's why I'm the champion. And so, of course, Damian, like, who can argue that Damian Maia is the most dangerous submission expert we've ever seen in the sport? You know, and Damian took Gilbert down, had him in trouble a little bit. How was that with me? You know, so it's, yeah, of course he has those accolades. Of course, in a submission match, could he potentially submit me? Yes, of course. So can Damian Maia. So can probably Sergio Moraes. But we all saw how those all went.
I saw a clip from the Anatomy of a Fighter with you where you said that, you know, you had these coaches that you thought had your back, and then they started telling the junior guy that he could beat the varsity guy. I'm not trying to bring negativity to your week, but is there some hard feelings there with you?
No, it's not necessarily hard feelings. I made the decision. That was me. And it was a decision that it wasn't just made. I know a lot has been made about, oh, you made the decision to leave for this fight. It's not just for this fight. I actually almost left a couple fights ago. It's just I'm in a point in my career to where I'm looking for something a little more fine-tuned. I'm a little older in my career now, and I know I haven't been in the UFC that long, but you know, all the years that I put into wrestling before, and I've been beating up my body and tearing up my body. You know, I'm kind of in a place now to where it's not necessarily train as hard and grind as much as I've always done. It's to where you kind of got to do it smarter. And so I needed a little bit more attention and a little more fine-tuning. And that's kind of hard to do when you're on a team of 40, 50 guys and the coaches are gone every other weekend. You know, that's very, very tough to do. So I needed a little more, and I found, you know, a situation and the coach that could give me that time. But you know, that's just that what you said earlier. That's my mentality. That's where I'm at. You know, I'm when you're the starter on the team and the starter's hurt. You know, of course the coach has got to step up and talk that JV guy up. Hey, you're the backup, but hey, yeah, you can step in for us and you could be that guy. You can step in for us, and that's the case here. That's absolutely the case, and that's how I'm approaching this.
You last fought in July, and Gilbert fought similar time, and yet in the welterweight division, there's still no number one contender after this fight. Why is it that this division, it's like the guys never seem to fight each other, and the division always seems to stagnate? You know, we haven't seen Masvidal, we haven't seen Colby, we haven't seen Leon. That's probably not his fault, but why is it that this division just seems to grind?
Well, I wouldn't say it stagnates. I think it's one of those situations to where we've all seen it when it rains and pours. It's like 1 week, boom, they can book 4 or 5 welterweight fights, or it could be 3 or 4 or 5 months before they book some of the fights. So, excuse me. So I wouldn't say it stagnates. I think I mean, if you look at the top 10, I've beaten probably 7 of those guys. It's like, okay, who do we throw at him now that hasn't dominated? You know, so I think, you know, some of these guys just need to do what they need to do in order to stand out. You know, Covington did it. He did what he needed to do. He said what he needed to say to stand out. And he had his shot. And, of course, Masvidal stepped up. He did what he needed to do. You know, he thought he was Jesus. He thought he was, you know, going to baptize people. And he stood out. And I dominated him as well. And so, you know, now Gilbert is doing the same. Gilbert has, you know, he said what he needed to say and went out and won the fight with Woodley. And, you know, now he's standing out. So it's up to these guys to be able to present that. Or if that's not the case, then, you know, I have to find out what's next.
Kamaru over here. I've been very curious about this because your last fight, you weighed in 170, Masvidal weighed 170. Aren't you the BMF now?
Of course I'm the BMF, if that's the thing. You know, that was, you know, and I said it before, that was just kind of something that they created just for that event. It's like it's given a participation medal for, you know, these guys participated in this event. So here's a participation medal. You know, that's not real gold. You know, he's not going to go down in history books UFC champion. You know, that's just, he's going to go down to BMF. 20 years later, the kids are going to ask, what's a BMF, Daddy? He's like, you know, I was a BMF champion one time. Who else won it? Who did you win it from? I don't know. You know, they just handed me a ribbon and said that I was a BMF champion. So that's how I think about that. But if you really want to say you can't still be the BMF after being dominated for 5 rounds.
So if they were to say that belt is on the line for another fight for him in the future, what would your statement be?
That's not pretty legitimate, is it? It's not very legitimate. You know, you can't take L's and be the baddest motherfucker in the game. You can't. So, yeah.
I want to ask because your last 2 fights, obviously there was a lot of hype for that, and then Colby said a lot. You've said it, you're not a guy who gets out there and gets into the war of words with these guys. So being a quiet guy, how do you feel like you have to handle yourself when Colby is out there, when you're being an analyst getting in your face, or when Masvidal's coming at you at Super Bowl week? I mean, how do you handle that?
It's great for those guys because that's how they separate themselves from the pack to get the opportunity to fight me. And that's great. I appreciate them for being able to do that. But for me, I didn't get in the game for that. I didn't get in this game to be famous or anything like that. I got in the game to be a martial artist and to prove that I was the best when it comes to competing in this sport. And so that's what I've done. I've done that each and every time and time again. And so if these guys want to continue to talk and say what they need to say, that's more power to them. But that's just not something that I engage in. When it comes to talking, I will simply state what I am capable of and what I will do. And I said it. I told Tyron Woodley. He asked me at the press conference, what are you going to do better than me? And I said everything. I will dominate you from start to finish. And I did that to Tyron Woodley. Colby Covington said the same thing. What are you going to do? I'm going to leave you on a stretcher, this, and this. And I told him, I will punish you for 4.5 rounds and I will finish you. And I did just that. Masvidal said the same thing. He's going to baptize me. He's going to do this and that. And I told him, you are the same journeyman you've always been. I will dominate you on my worst day. And what happened? I did just that. So I just state the facts. I state what I'm able to do. I don't have to be boastous. You know, I don't have to boast about it or be braggadocious. I know what I'm capable of, and that's what I state.
Finally, I noticed there's quite a camaraderie between yourself, Israel Adesanya, Francis Ngannou. You're very proud of your heritage, the Nigerian Nightmare and everything. Is there a bit of, I guess, excitement that you kind of get to get the ball rolling for all of you guys? They're both fighting next month. Obviously, there's a push for UFC Africa. Do you feel like you're kind of starting to get it rolling for everybody?
Absolutely. That gets me excited each and every time. It's just something about it. I think it's just the way that we're raised and where we come from and the struggles that we come from to where it's like when you see someone doing something incredible like that, you can't help but to be happy. And my heart is just filled with joy when I watch these guys. And so, yeah, I was extremely excited when I was able to get out there and win that title and let these guys know. I'm sure it was a little extra oomph for them, like, yo, we can do this. We can do this. We can come from Africa and we can still achieve this. And so once again, I'm excited to be the one to get this year rolling for us. And clean sweep, you know, by the end of the year, Africa is going to have three belts.
UFC Africa, you, Israel Adesanya, Francis Ngannou. Who's the main event?
It's kind of hard to deny Francis. That's a tough one. It's kind of hard when somebody can just breathe on you and you go to sleep. It's kind of hard to deny that from Francis. And it's just something about Francis too. If Francis walks in the room right now, everybody will know that Francis is in the room. You know, he just commands that presence, and I see it, I recognize it, and I love it, and I appreciate it. And yeah, it's kind of hard to deny the heavyweight champion of the world, you know, not headlining the event.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank
you, guys.
Macy's just finishing up a couple things over there, guys. I'll come right in.
Oh, you show up now?
Yeah, I was like, well, you know, we got one fighter left. It's time to make an appearance. See what's going on.
Make an appearance, you know.
Yeah, shake some hands.
I just
kiss
woke
some
up,
babies.
you know.
You still gonna be on our call tomorrow? Don't scare me, man.
You know what?
Don't scare me. Me seeing you here makes me think you're not gonna be on our call, and I don't know who's gonna ask all these questions.
I'll talk to Jay and see, and if not, I'll see what I got and see if I can hop in for a while.
Sure. I forget if we have which athletes we have on the call that we didn't have here.
Yeah, I'll put in my info either way, and I will. I'll send you an email on which one
Awesome
of us
questions,
will,
Gabe.
you know, help out a bit.
We appreciate the support either way. You're just like a comfort level that I have on those calls because I'm like, all right, I got my cage side press boys.
Alright.
Hey, listen.
No, we appreciate it. We know. But we can't all get to every event, so it's like that's where we get our content. And you're always good with us. Yeah. No, we don't take it for granted.
No, I appreciate it. Okay, cool. Whatever we can do to help you guys, let me know.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah. What are you doing on your own here, buddy?
Yeah, right here on your own.
Let's do this.
Maycee, obviously it's been a year away, right? So I guess what's the emotion, the energy like right now being back? I mean, I know it's a different world now, but you're back on a fight week.
At first, it was a little bit surreal. Just being able to say, I'm coming into a fight week. It's a little bit crazy, just because it has been a year. So I forgot all those feelings, but at the same time, it's like, dang! Just yesterday, I was here, and it feels like I'm right back where I belong. So I'm excited. There's a lot of good emotions coming into this fight, and there's been a lot of hard work put in this last year. So I'm ready to show it off.
I was going to ask you, I mean, for this past year, what was the hardest part? I mean, was it the physical recovery of getting over it, or was there like some mental challenges that maybe you didn't realize you were going to have to deal with along the way?
I think there was a lot, just because of I had the injury, and then I had surgery, and then we ran into the COVID and the quarantine and a lot of different things and a lot of different factors. For me, just as a fighter and as an athlete, being taken out of the gym and out of like training, that's hard, because I went from being 3 years old and training my entire life, being an athlete, being active, to, okay, now you're out, you can't even walk unless you're on crutches and you have a brace, and you can't do anything physical for a while. It was like, what do I do? Like, what am I supposed to do with myself? So it was a little bit challenging at first. But then after that, it was easier, because as I got healthier, it was more physical therapy. So I had more distractions. I was able to go to therapy 2-3 times a day for a couple hours a day. It was like just obsessing yourself with becoming stronger and better and just healthy again, and getting back to being able to train. And then after that, I was able to train and start striking and then wrestling and grappling. So overall, the recovery has been good, but obviously we all ran into some hiccups with quarantine, and it wasn't just hard on me, it was hard on a lot of people. So I think the added challenge for everybody of trying to figure out what to do with your life and how to adjust to the changes, I think that didn't just teach me a lot of lessons, but it taught everybody lessons.
I don't know how much you let yourself soak it in, but there was a lot of fan backlash after the last fight. And I'm just curious if you did see it, and if so, I mean, was it upsetting to see some of the stuff that was out there?
I try not to pay too much attention, because deep down, I knew that I was prepared to go into a fight. And when you sign on the line to fight, you know that you're saying, hey, I'm ready to go get into an octagon with another human and get locked in this cage, and one of us is going to go down. And I suffered an injury, and I suffered a very bad one, and I still am going to fight through it. And people on the outside, they're always going to have something to say, whether it's good or bad.
The thing that matters is they have something to say. You know, they have an opinion on it, and that's what matters because I want people to be able to have an opinion, whether it's good or negative. So I didn't really care if it was good or bad. I was just like, hey, they're commenting, so we're good.
Fair enough. Is the countdown still on the phone, or did the year off, throw a wrench in the plans?
The countdown's still going. I did get an iPhone though, so now it's a little bit different because you can't have like the little thing on your screen, but it's still there. And January 18th of 2022 is when that's like the end date for me to be 23 years and 8 months. So I turned 23 in May, and we're still going towards that title.
That's awesome. I'm curious. I mean, obviously, to have that kind of drive and that focus, it's key, right? But do you regret ever that like became public? Like, do you wish maybe like only you knew what that countdown was there and what was going on?
No, if you keep your goals and your ambitions hidden, it just means you're not confident in them. And I'm confident in my goals and my ambitions and my dreams, and I'm always going to speak it out. I said this on another interview. Is like I've mentioned it a couple of times. People say your confidence is perceived as cockiness, and I'm like, if you feel that you're confident in something, you should be able to speak it out. You should be able to say it, because you want everybody to know, because that just keeps you accountable. That keeps you going towards that. And I want people to be able to follow that dream. That gives other people something to follow. And I want that. I don't want to just keep things to myself, because if I keep it to myself, not everybody's going to benefit from it. So I want everybody to benefit from the story, from the challenge, to be able to follow. It's almost like they're able to be a part of it, And I want everybody to be a part of my career, because what fun is doing things alone? It's not. So I want to share it with as many people as possible.
Very cool. Certainly not an easy matchup in your return here, right? Obviously an accomplished fighter and Alexa, great striker. What did you think when they handed you this matchup? What was your initial reaction?
The initial reaction was say yes, because we've never turned down a fight. She's tough, she's a great fighter, and she's strong. She's got a great following behind her. I have a great following behind me. I think it's a great fight. There's going to be a lot of eyes. We're co-main event, We have a great fight ahead of us, and I'm super excited for it, and I'm ready to go out there and get a finish.
What's the team going to be in the corner? I know you've kind of changed things around a little bit, so who's going to be in the corner?
Yeah, so we had a little bit of a change-up. I went from Milwaukee to Chicago, and I'm now working with Mike Valley and Izzy Martinez. Unfortunately, Izzy tested positive for COVID a couple weeks ago, something like that, and so we had a quick change of direction, and now I have Jafari in my corner. He's like the fill-in wrestling coach, but we're good. So we got wrestling, we got Mike Valley, and then my brother's in my corner as well. But my team and my training has been phenomenal this camp, and I'm excited.
Very nice. Last thing for me, obviously 2020 didn't work out the way you wanted it to, but what are the goals in 2021? I mean, do you feel like you need to make up for lost time? I know you said you're still chasing that title, so do you feel like you got to fight frequently? What's the goal?
Well, first of all, I want to say that 2020 went exactly how it was supposed to be. It may not have been beautiful the whole time, but there was a lot of lessons, a lot of growth, and a lot of things that I am so thankful for. I'm glad I got the injury, because it taught me a lot, and I need to be the fighter that is super well-rounded and just knowing how to be prepared everywhere. And I want to be prepared even for an injury, even for adversity, and I want that. So 2020 went exactly how it was supposed to, and we overcame that year, and 2020 has been great. 2021 has been great to start, and I see it going with me getting this win over Alexa. I've already said that I wanted to fight Joanne Calderwood, and then I wanted the title fight. That's how I see the path going, and I already told Dana, and he gave me the thumbs up and was like, all right, let's do it, kind of thing. But we'll see, obviously everything happens the way it's supposed to happen, and we just come prepared, and we're ready to show what we need to show.
Maycee, what is it exactly about the JoJo fight that interests you?
Well, the other day when she fought Jessica I know that she was 5 or 6, and Jessica was 6 or 7 or something around there. And I watched that fight, and I know that I'm number 10 right now. So that's what makes sense. That's the fight that makes sense. They're ranked above me. You crack that fight, and you have a title contention fight, because she was going to contend for the title until I think she's lost to Jennifer Maya, I believe. And so I feel like that's a fight, like, on paper it makes sense, and then also it's like, that's a fight I'm going to win. So it's like a win-win situation.
I was curious about when you recovered from your injury. I'm sure it was so frustrating not being able to train, like you said. But then when you go to that first wrestling training session and stuff, are you just desperate to get back on the mats, or are you freaking out like, oh, please don't break, like, please don't destroy my leg again?
It's a little bit of both. Part of you is like, all right, let's go, go, go. But at the same time, it's like, I never want to go through another rehab like that again, mainly because I like being in the gym and I don't want to be taken out of the gym. So if the doctors and the therapists say don't go, it's like, well, I'm not going to go. You know, it was kind of like one of those, you have to trust them in telling you what you can and can't do and just believe in that process. And yeah, it was a little bit hard when I went to go watch people sparring. That was hard, and I would get a little bit teared up a little bit because, you know, you want that. You want to be in there. You want to be the one doing it. But at the same time, it tests your patience. So
you mentioned that you've been training all your life, and then suddenly it just gets taken away from you, and you're left sat there wondering how you're going to spend the time in your day. Not to age your career too quickly, but did you start thinking like, man, I should probably have a plan for after fighting if this is how much of a struggle it is to not have this?
For me, I already have goals and plans for what I want to do after. Specifically, you know, for this career, I don't feel like I have to have I need a plan B right now, because like I said, I'm young, I'm 22. So I have a lot of time in this career, but at the same time, it's like I'm going to take advantage of every opportunity I have with this career, and I can't try and start another career while I'm in this one. So I really just wanted to focus on getting healthy, getting better, and being the best fighter I could be so that I can do this career 100% and then go to focus on the other ones.
Any disappointment that the fight you always wanted with Paige Van Zant's gone?
No, you know, I've said that before. You know, every fighter has a career and has their own life, and their choices are what's best for them. You know, the fight for Paige was probably a great fight for me, but it definitely wasn't a great fight for her career. So yes, it's smart of her to not fight me. What she did with moving to bare knuckle was, again, smart on her career, if that's what she wanted to take her career and her path and for her own financial success. Who knows? Maybe someday down the road we'll fight, but I don't know. I don't see how it is, how that'll end up happening. But you know, I wanted to fight her and it didn't happen, but I'm okay with that because I'm still going towards the title.
Maycee over here. With, you know, the countdown clock and obviously the fact that you're so young in your career, it would seem like, you know, everything, you know, it's all MMA all the time for Maycee Barber. We don't know a lot, like, what are some of your outside the octagon interests? What are some of the things that we may not know about you so far that, you know, gets your mind off of all of that grind?
A lot of things that I do, like you said, it's been MMA all the time. That's my life. You know, when I want to be the best in the world, you have to submerge yourself in that life. And that's what I did. When I had the injury, I did go back and think of other things that I wanted to do and other interests and stuff. And for me, you know, just being outside of the gym when I'm not there, you know, during the summer, I like to spend my time on the lake, out in the sun. You know, I like to be active. I like to spend time with family and friends. When I got cleared and I wasn't quite able to spar, I was running hills with friends and just spending time outside. But for me, another big thing that I want to be a part of is Operation Underground Railroad. And that's a big cause for child trafficking, and that's something that has always been a big part of my heart and my interest. And that's something that I see myself doing and being a bigger part of as this career goes on and as I end my own fighting career.
That's a very noble cause. Can I ask just what was it about it that impacted you that made that, you know, one of the focuses that you want to, you know, have a, you know, just effect in your career?
For me, you know, I know that I have a huge platform, and the more awareness that we can get for that kind of cause, the better. You know, the more eyes and ears that you can open to something like that, the more lives are going to be saved. And I feel like that's super important. And I never want to use, you know, I never want to be like, oh, I'm doing this, so look at me, I'm a good person. I just feel like everybody needs to kind of help with that. And if I have a platform that can reach tons and tons of people, you better believe that that's what we're going to do. But for me, you know, that's always been something that's been close to my heart.
Can I ask, I know you're very happy with your new team, but I don't feel like we've heard you talk a lot about why, because it seemed like, you know, you had a good thing going in Milwaukee, and I know you do sometimes train there, but why is it that you decided, you know, I want to make my main camp, you know, somewhere new?
A lot of it was training partners' bodies, and just wanting to make sure that everything that I was doing was 110% for me. And Milwaukee was great, you know, it was a good training place, but there was no females, there's a few smaller bodies, but a lot of the smaller bodies are Sergio Pettis, Rafion Stotts, like they're fighters that are like in the prime of their career, and the focus has to be on themselves. So if they're taking time away from their careers to focus on helping me, you know, it's not both of us training to be the best that we can be. And yeah, it's good to grind with them, but at the same time, it's like I need to be able to have all eyes on me, all the training focused on me. And I feel like with Mike Valley and Izzy, it's like they are focused on me. And when it's time for me to fight, it's everybody's eyes are on me. And the preparation is 110% focused on what we need to have done for this fight and and how we're gonna be ready.
My last one, you're very familiar with Ben Askren. How do you feel he does against Jake Paul in boxing?
You know, that's an interesting question because I feel like Ben's training, but also Jake and Logan Paul, they're not bad boxers. So I am very interested to see. I can never go against people that I know, even if everybody else is against them. So I'm gonna go with Ben just because he's close to me. But you know, those guys have been boxing for a while, so I think ultimately they both win because they're both gonna make some money.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
That's a wrap. Take you over to Miss Heidi, and then I already text Heidi or Heather for you, so she's aware.
And you guys can work from here until 6:30. Give you guys a little time.
Okay.